I am praying for every one of you in the path of this hurricane. I don't know how much that counts for. I don't know if God listens to my prayers, but I asked some other holy people to pray for you. I got some monks. I was corresponding with some monks, and they will pray for you guys as well. My aunt lives right near Asheville, North Carolina, so I have been getting updates firsthand of the devastation of all of this stuff. It's horrible. As of this recording, the new Hurricane Milton has not hit yet, so I think it will have hit by the time this episode is out. Caitlyn and I both know people directly in the path of this one, and we are praying for you. What we are going to talk about today is buffer and the utter lack of this concept in your life and how that is the root of a lot of your problems. I was talking to someone about this who was beating herself up about the fact that she wasn't getting a lot of stuff done, and on top of that, she was scrolling social media too much. And she said that she was going to put one of these time limit things on her phone so that she would stop scrolling social media. And when this happens throughout the day, she would say, "Man, I just look at me. I'm behind on everything. The house is a mess. And here I sit scrolling social media. I'm the worst. I'm a horrible human being. I wish I could be you guys' fairy godmother and just show up in a cloud of glitter. And that would make a mess in your house. And I'd be like, I am so sorry. I've been trying to turn this into something that is non-messy, but I don't really know how my fairy portal works. So gosh, there's glitter all over your carpet. I am so sorry. But then I would tell you that maybe you're pulling up your phone all the time because you are completely maxed out. You have no dopamine in your life because you are doing way more in a day than you were meant to, and you're desperate for for one pleasurable thing to happen to you today. Especially, this is true for everyone, but especially for moms of young children. I think maybe the reason you're always turning to your phone is because you need one pleasurable thing to happen to you in a day. How about that? It's like there's noise all the time. There's always a new smell in different parts of your house, and it's always somehow worse than the day before, but it's new, but it's different. There are new stains to clean up. Again, you don't have a village like we talked about in a previous episode. You don't have a village. Normally, again, for vast majority of human history, women tended to work together in groups. Women did things in groups. They would go down to the water well together. And yes, it was hard work, harder work than any of us have ever done. But there was this dopamine payoff of you kind of gossip, you know? That's what I was saying in that other episode, that it's kind of fun. It's like, oh, I've got to hear the latest on what is going on with her brother. Is he still totally unhinged? And so it's kind of a payoff. Like, all right, I got to get up. I don't want to miss the good stuff down at the water well, you know? Now we don't have that. So I think there are a couple of reasons you're going to your phone. One is buffer, but guys, your brain is designed to see human faces. It desires to see human faces. And if you are on your suburban desert island where all of your neighbors at work and you're staying home with your kids and you don't see other human faces in a day, yes, your primal brain is going to be like, get on that rectangle, get out that rectangle where the faces are. Because I need to know that we haven't been abandoned by the tribe. Get out that thing. We need to see that. I think that you guys are not the horrible human beings that you think you are for whatever it is. For some people, it might be shopping too much, drinking too much. There's there's a coping mechanism that I'm familiar with. And again, I think that your primal brain is looking for community and looking for that dopamine hit that comes with the daily drudgery and can only come through other people. There are certain types of rewards. And by the way, I know it's more serotonin than dopamine. I listened to all the neurobiochemistry podcast bros too. So it's really serotonin, but I don't know. Dopamine just rolls off the tongue. It's interesting how God has wired us, isn't it? Isn't it? It's interesting how God has wired us that there are certain types of serotonin boost, of like feel-good chemicals that you can only get through other people. That moment of hearing something really interesting about what is going on with someone else, or someone just understanding you. Again, you're with the women from the tribe at the water well, and a woman who's a few years ahead of you puts her hand on your shoulder, looks you in the eye, and says, "I've been there. I get it, and you are okay. You are okay. You're going to get through this, and I've seen your family. I know your family, and I can tell you with authority, you're doing a great job." That's the kind of thing you can only get from other human beings. You can't just like program your Tamagotchi or ask AI to give you affirmations. It's interesting, try it. I mean, you could ask AI like, "Hey AI, tell me I'm doing a great job." And it would, but no, you really wouldn't feel those feel-good chemicals. I think that's so interesting how God designed us. And it makes so much sense because as an introvert who is really just sensitive and easily annoyed and I can't tolerate anything, God is so smart. God, and I know that probably it matters to have my approval on how he does things. Just kind of reviewing God's work here. And I'm like, man, good one, God. This one was really good. Because let's face it, if we weren't deeply biochemically wired to desire certain serotonin and dopamine payoffs that we can only get from other people, some of us might not ever speak to anyone ever again. I mean, I'm a pretty serious introvert. Oh, can you listen? I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to resist this, but we're still in setup. I mean, I really shouldn't be going on meaty tangents right now. MEATY, not like MEAD, like the drink, the meaty tangents. But all right, Caitlyn, just hit the sound effect that we spent 4 years creating for when I'm going to go on a Catholic tangent way too early in the show. Okay, so sorry, this is a Catholic tangent, but isn't it interesting how one of the things that I was curious about when I was exploring religion after a life of atheism is like, why do we have to go to church on Sunday? Why are you sure? Because, a lot of the Protestants, they do home church. And I was like, I like this idea, and I would like to actually tease it out even further. If you don't have to be in an actual church, what about, and guys, just, stick with me here, let's be open-minded. What about bed church? What about not even get out of bed, like just with my eyes closed? And I know where people are gathered, we like God's there too. That's a direct quote from the Bible. More excellent biblical scholarship on this podcast. So what if a kid was in bed with you too, and it's you and your husband and the kid? So hey, we've got multiple people gathered, and if we're all thinking positive things about God at the same time, I was like, Protestants, I like this direction. I love it. I love the idea of not having to go to church. Like this is for me. And then when I saw this Catholic system, it was like, oh, the physical presence of God is there. Oh, God got me again. Good one, God. And you can't just do that at home. You can't make God physically present yourself at home and then eat God. I know it's weird. If you're not Catholic, you're like, well, now your religion is sounding really weird. It's a long story as to what we believe, but there is something at church that you consume that you cannot create on your own, and it gathers people together. And there's a tradition. This is a tradition with a lowercase t. It's not like a huge thing, but that there are parish boundaries, geographical boundaries, and you go to the Catholic church that is just in that geography. You do not church shop. Not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to go wherever your geographic boundary is. And the great thing is, I remember when I was converting, I saw some friends of ours. I've talked about them before. Amazing family, love them so much. They came here from Mexico back in the day. Not sure about the legality of the situation. My grandparents were the only ones who spoke Spanish in the area, so we got to know that family really well. But they were very, very, very poor. Cleaning houses for a living, and this whole family went to the local Catholic church that was our Catholic church. And one day I was in line for confession, and I saw one of our friends there, wonderful. And again, someone who has lived in utter poverty, like way below the poverty line, her whole life, working her fingers to the bone, cleaning houses. And then I also saw a guy, a tech bro, who I think his net worth is probably like 300 million. I saw him in line right next to her. And I was like, man, good one, God. This is a smart system. The way we have to go to this physical building, and we can't do bed church and we can't do home church, because otherwise, now, like, fast forward, now that I've been in the Catholic ghetto, getting close to 20 years. Let me tell you, I wouldn't speak to a lot of these people ever again. Like, I've been through the ringer, like the stories I could tell, the skeletons I have seen in the closet. But again, God's always one step ahead of us, that he has wired us. He has wired our brains so that there are certain dopamine hits that we can only get from other human interaction. And to end that tangent, hit end of tangent sound effect. If we want to talk about his one true church, we could also say it is interesting too that he wired the church system so that you can't get around it. You have to hang out with these jerks. Like, you can't get around it. It's brilliant, honestly. And I give God an A+ on that one. Not on everything, not on certain aspects of my life. I do have some constructive criticism for him for the way certain things are going in my life. But it's brilliant the way God wired us. So yes, I do remember what the main topic is. I think that's why you're always going to your phone. I think your brain is like, yeah, give me the rectangle that has the faces in it. And I think that you are getting very, very maxed out because you don't have buffer in your life. That is the main topic for today. And by the way, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do a Patreon live on Friday. This Friday, we will, I'm not sure about the time. Okay, check Patreon. Join the Patreon if you have not already. We will do another State of the Dumpster Fire live, and I will share something happened. Well, okay, we have a new situation in our family, and it quickly unraveled as soon as it was like, oh, we're happy. No, we're sad. This is a dumpster fire. And then it kind of had a happy ending. I also have some health issues, fresh, new health issues, not the blood clots. Stop. That's old news. Of course, I have to have new health issues that are ruining my life. And you know what? I'll just go ahead and talk about a bunch of that stuff. It will be this Friday, October 11th. Yes. I'm not probably, you know what? I don't want to say it. So just check the Patreon. I will post that pretty soon. And again, you can join at any level to get access to the State of the Dumpster Fire addresses that I do on Zoom. You can do the lower level, the higher, the Village Hustle Patreon level, and the archive. It will be archived. So if you are hearing this after Friday, October 11th, right? Okay. If you're hearing this after Friday, October 11th, the replay will be available. You can join the Patreon now and hear about the thing that happened to our family recently that just really devolved in a pretty big way. And then a health issue that it's significant. It's actually significant. It's not something massive, but it's ruining my life. But don't worry, the tour is not in question. I would tour there. I wouldn't cancel shows for illness. Like if I ever cancel a show for illness, I'm dead. That people just don't want to tell you. They just don't want to announce it yet. So don't worry, the tour is not in question. It's just tough what is going on. So I will talk about that on Patreon. And of course, when you join the Patreon, you get instant access to the full archives, instant access to everything I've ever put up there. And that at both levels, you get instant access to everything. Patreon.com/thisisjen. That is Jen with one N. Patreon.com/thisisjen. All right, speaking of which, welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show, coming to you from Austin, Texas. Our lovely producer is Caitlyn White. Show notes for how you work with her if you want consulting, video editing, things like that. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That is being a hot girl boss or hot boy boss who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. This is also the podcast where you learn you are not nearly as much of a disaster as you think you are. You're just living a surprisingly difficult life. You're too hard on yourself. You don't realize how difficult your life is. We publish new episodes every Wednesday morning. And again, the Patreon is patreon.com/thisisjen. And we will do a live this coming Friday night. I will post myself on the Patreon of all the details. And it is one of our State of the Dumpster Fire updates. And of course, before we get into one of the earlier topics, we get into the main topic in the second half of the show, that topic of, why you're looking at your phone so much, buffer, community. That will be later in the show. We will hit some intro topics first. But first, Caitlyn, play our fabulous tour jingle, the best tour jingle that has ever existed.
She was dropped by her agent and manager on the same day. Iconic. Now she's entered her villain era, and she's back on tour anyway. Jen Fulwiler. News gonna drop. Jen Fulwiler. But she just can't be stopped. Jen Fulwiler. This tour is gonna pop. Takes that jfcomedytour.com. jfcomedytour.com.
Pittsburgh, I am there next week, October 15th. Cincinnati, also there next week, October 16th. Toledo, October 17th. Get your tickets right now. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Toledo next week. And then you can go to jfcomedytour.com to find out where I am going next. And we have just solidified 3 more cities. Very exciting. I will be announcing those pretty soon. So new cities to come. By the way, we just hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yes. The Comedy Millions are a half step away. And if my entire YouTube channel had not been demonetized, that would be amazing. I wrestled with that platform. I'm still getting used to it. I love YouTube. I use it all the time. I'm always on YouTube watching stuff on there. But yeah, I would love to know why. Like I'm not allowed to monetize anything. So am I making money from YouTube? No, but that's part of the grand plan for this podcast, that we leave money on the table, and it would go against my core values from this podcast if I weren't in the hole, if I didn't get negative money from the fine work that I do here. All right, again, Hurricane, you guys are in my prayers. Caitlyn and I are both going to be watching it very closely, very concerned for everyone. And okay, on a ridiculous note, some of you guys, speaking of the Catholic ghetto, some of you guys know a gentleman named Lino Rulli. He is the anchor host of the Catholic channel on SiriusXM, good friend of mine, just great broadcaster. Not as good at fantasy football as I am, but the man has many talents. I mean, that you don't have to be like good at fantasy football. Like it's, he brings other things to the table in life. This is so incredible. This probably won't show up on YouTube, but I was invited to join the league for his show. And this is my second year doing fantasy football, and my first year joining the league. It's a bunch of guys like his friends. They've done a lot of fantasy football, and during the draft, I was nerding out with my algorithm. I had a theory of the best way to get the right players, but it's not what like big time football people tend to do. But my nerdy little self, I decided that that this might work. So I had this kind of spreadsheet calculation thing, and we did a live Zoom call during the draft, and everyone else was being light and joking around. I hardly said anything because I was very focused on following the spreadsheet and the algorithm. I wish you guys could see this, but you know what? I probably shouldn't put the names of some of the other teams in this league. Oh, well, this is my health insurance card. I can't. Okay, guys, I'm trying to find something on my desk to cover these names with. I have a bumper sticker here that has the F word on it, so I can't. Thank you, Caitlyn. Who knew? Oh, and then there's this stuff that I use for allergies. What I'm about to say, this is clean podcast appropriate. Okay. Well, is YouTube going to ding me for that? Well, you know what? They already demonetized me. I thought it was for what?
You're back in good standing, so don't do that.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
No, they said I couldn't until really?
Yes. Yeah.
I love this platform. I have no complaints about it. And I'm not going to tell you. I got cream because my face sometimes itches from allergies, and I found out that this cream was for a different part of the body, a different even region of the body. So I can't hold that up. So it's like we have this. We have this cream, a bumper sticker with the F word on it. My health insurance card. Look, here's okay. Boy, this is a lot just to show you how much I'm winning. Some of the names in this league are questionable, so I will hold them up. Okay. So, and look, no one can even see it. This was just a waste of everyone's time. What you would see if that weren't totally washed out on YouTube is that I am 5-0. 5 wins, 0 losses. One other guy, one other guy is 4-1. Lino, who invited me to be in his league, is 3-2. And what's funny is they were making fun of me during the draft because I was taking it so seriously. And some of the players, I wasn't as familiar with. I do follow football, but not like they do. And they were making fun of me because they would make a joke about, you know, this guy is such a bad guy or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm sure he's fine. And then I Googled him and I was like, oh, that's a pretty bad guy. And I'm 5-0. No one else in the 12-person league is 5-0. Like, I have the best record in the league. So everybody pray for Lino Rulli. I think he deeply regrets inviting me to his league. 5-0. I'm telling you, when I get locked in to an algorithm, I mean, it's over. It's over for these bros. It's over for these fantasy football bros. I'm telling you, my team it's a solid team. And this is my last bit. You guys, ladies, you really need to follow football. I'm serious. It's so much fun. It adds so much value to my life. The only thing is that now we have 2 parents angry about football situations. Like, I walked in the other night and I was really tired. And, you know, we could bring in a marriage counselor to see whose fault this was. But I had texted a certain associate of mine who I live with and said, hey, I really don't want to see the scores because I am so, you know, I'm really interested in how this game goes. I've got alerts turned off on my fantasy app. So I want to go like watch it from the beginning. So don't tell me scores. And I put that like in writing too. So you, like, someone could be like, I think that was pretty clear. And I walked in and the game was on live on our massive living room TV. And I'm like, oh, there is the current score here in the fourth quarter. And then I was mad. I was like, you know, throwing my bag down and like, I was trying not to see the score. I thought I made this clear. And I was like, man, I need to, this is not good to have both parents acting like this over football scores. I will say, let me say this. Now that I'm into football, I really relate to 80s and 90s parents losing their minds when we walked in front of the television. I didn't understand because in this day and age, you can replay it. Just, so frustrating. I get mad even though I can just hit the rewind button and replay it. if that had happened back in the day when it was just live, and if you didn't see it, you missed it, I would have burned down the house. I mean, I would have felony charges against myself. So, new sympathy for old school parents and how much they yelled at us when we stepped in front of the TV. I mean, they should have had a cattle prod. That would have been understandable if they did. Okay, so yeah, pray for Lino because I'm so excellent at fantasy football. What can I say? My algorithms are just good. All right. This podcast episode almost did not come together, largely because I have been making mums. And it has come to my attention that you guys don't know what mums are. Caitlyn, you have sadly been forced to live in different places that are not the great nation of Texas. Had you heard of mums?
Only, yeah.
Because you lived in
I started here.
Oh, you started here. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I was talking to my friend Leah Darrow. She lives in Missouri, and that's the South, but she didn't know what I was talking about. Okay. I meant to bring the mum that I made over here. Well, whatever. We have a picture. It's fine. Okay. You get a huge flower. You put it on a cardboard backing, and then you add ribbons, streamers, tassels, tinsel type things, bells, like cowbells, little stick on plastic, decals and stuff, little like mini footballs, and you keep adding this until it is 50 pounds. It's like if an entire TJ Maxx store were one decorative object. Yeah. Just everything in there. I like if your daughter's back is not deeply strained, if she doesn't have months of chronic back pain after wearing her mum for one day, then you did not make the right mum. That's the principle behind mums. So I needed to make one because, and here's how this came about. This is all from being a cheer mom, by the way. Okay. There was a mum making party for the cheer moms. And it did sound like the Bermuda Triangle of everything I'm terrible at. Socializing, crafts, getting up early because it started at noon. That's, on a weekend. I mean, it's like perfect storm of everything that I really can't do. But I was going to go. These women are actually really sweet. And I was going to go, but I didn't feel well because of these health issues that I will tell you about on the Patreon on Friday, patreon.com/thisisjen. Okay, so I couldn't make it. But I said, well, we don't need to make mums. Famous last words. I was like, I will get one on Amazon.
Cool.
I thought I would get one on Amazon. Amazon has everything, right? They don't have mums. Amazon has all sorts of weird stuff. And do you know how I know how many weird things Amazon sells? Because I have a comedy special that was released on Amazon Prime called The Naughty Corner. Type that into Amazon and you will see that the variety of products they sell is truly endless. Truly, it is endless. So, but they don't sell mums. So I might have thought if they sold that one thing that I'm like, how many batteries does that take? And is that legal? Can you sell that? Like, is this for multiple people? If they sell that, I kept that PG-13. You cannot say I didn't.
Very PG, but still.
It's totally PG-13. If they sell that, they have to sell mums. Maybe they sell them in like that department. Maybe some people have weird. Yeah, okay, whatever. They don't. And so I was like, okay. So I am making mums. I go to Hobby Lobby where what I love about Hobby Lobby, hit the Hobby Lobby tangent special custom sound effect. What I love about Hobby Lobby is that everyone there has all the time in the world. I got this whole stack of ribbons and the lady was counting them one by one.
Ew.
1, 2. I said, charge me for 100. It's fine. Like just or 200, whatever. They're 10 cents each. Just overcharge me. And she was like, no, ma'am, I wouldn't want to do that. And I'm like, no, but I want you to do that. Please. Here, I was about to just empty my wallet, all the credit cards, cash, coins, bouncing all over like I was like, I can't do this. What's even crazier is I was holding up the line. Now we have a really long line, but I looked and everyone was joyfully chatting. I realized that standing 20 minutes in a line while they count out each one of my ribbons individually is a feature, not a bug for the Hobby Lobby crowd. They're there for love of the game. They're just there to chat with people and talk about their crafts in line. I have got to be more like this, because when I said, like, just charge me, I don't care, charge me for any number you want, like, I just can't watch this counting. I made her lose her count. I almost had to be anesthetized. I needed an anesthesiologist to get in there with an IV and help me get through this process. And I realized, look at the 10 people in line behind me. They have joy in their life because they're not like this. I hired all of them to be my life coach. By the way, they're my collective life coaches now. I've got to be more like that. I'm going to spend way more time at Hobby Lobby. So, but they were sold out of a lot of mum stuff because it's huge in Texas. Mums are a huge deal. So I get the mum stuff. I watched some YouTube videos about how to do it. Just burning myself with the glue gun immediately. So stressed out. But this thing turned out. Look on my YouTube channel. Caitlyn's going to put up a picture. Look at this. Look at this. Look.
Which one?
Oh, did I have more than one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, look. Okay. Here's this one.
Start.
Okay. For those of you who are listening on audio, leave it up, Caitlyn. For those of you who are listening on audio, imagine seeing the perfect mum. Now make it better. Oh, that's what we're seeing right now. I made this. For those of you guys who can see it, again, jfonyoutube.com. Subscribe to my channel, please, while you are here. It's a masterpiece. I mean, this is like... This is my finest work. This might be my true calling. And I don't know if you can tell in this picture. Now, Caitlyn, put up the second picture of the second mum I made. Behold this picture. And again, pull it up on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel while you are there, because getting new YouTube subscribers is like high percentage of my joy in life. Okay, so this picture, and again, for those of you listening on audio, it's like the perfect mum is what we're looking at, but there are LED lights in it. It lights up.
Yes.
It lights up. Can you imagine? I mean, just like, here's what I realized in doing this mum thing. I am not crafty, but I am resourceful. And I got overnight shipping on, it was like $12 to get 6 of these LED lights, like strings of lights. I mean, I got extra. So my daughter is like somehow going to have this amazing mum with these battery powered LED lights. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe this is my calling. Maybe God has made every single thing difficult in my career this year because he's like, listen, mum making is what you're about. And I will say, if you guys don't support my tour to the level that I feel is supportive of the future comedy millions, I'll just quit and make mums. No more podcast, no more comedy tour. It'll be like, what happened to Jen Fulwiler? Jen Fulwiler, the mum maker? She's rich. She got the mum millions. And then you guys will be like, I blame myself because I only told 5 friends about her stand-up comedy tour at jfcomedytour.com, and I should have told 10 friends. And so she no longer gives us jokes, only mums. No more podcast episodes, only mums. Do you know how much that mum that I made, because I priced them at local florists Do you know how much a mum with LED lights would go for here in the great state of Texas? They start basic mums that are way inferior to a Fulwiler specialty mum. They start at $150.
What?
Yes, I'm not, because I priced it because I was panic calling florists when I realized they weren't on Amazon. Yes, they start at $150. So add in the razzle dazzle of the LED lights. I got $200 in the bag.
Yeah, seriously.
Jen, the mum maker, it is. I'm telling you,
Mum's
this is
the word.
Yeah, exactly. Mum's the word. Exactly. That's what I'm going to call my business. And then I'll have the mum millions and I don't have to mess around with the entertainment industry anymore. And I'm glad to find one thing as a cheer mom that I excel at, because Caitlyn, did I tell them about the cheer that I had to learn? Or was that on the after party on Patreon?
Oh, there's a potential, but I don't even remember this. You had to learn to cheer?
Oh, okay. Well,
boy.
Stop everything. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't tell you this.
Any of that.
The cheer moms don't understand people like myself. They're lovely. I like them. But guys, I was goth in high school. I didn't have a mom. I showed up to homecoming in a witch's costume because it was close to Halloween, and I wore combat boots, fishnet stockings, black lipstick, and a witch's costume. So, Jen, what did your mom look like at homecoming? It was a skull. I actually, what's funny, in high school, I didn't like my high school, and for the class ring, I got you can get the gem. You're supposed to get your class color. I got black because being goth was more important than like our school colors, which were blue. So that was my attitude in high school. And so I didn't know. I don't know anything about this. I certainly wasn't a cheerleader. And a lot of these cheer moms were cheerleaders, or they were at least like the type of girls that like had friends or left the house, like unlike me. And so they thought it would be fun. The cheer moms always have these ideas of what would be fun. And it's always the kind of thing that makes me think I'm truly special needs. Like I know that I'm a little different than other people, but when the cheer moms are like, what would be fun? And then they finish that sentence, I'm like, how do I function in like at all ever? Because the level of stress this is causing me compared to the level of just carefree joy that every other normal person is getting out of this is like wild. It's a wild ratio there. So they were like, wouldn't it be fun if the moms learned a cheer and went out on the field at halftime with their kids? I didn't tell you this, Caitlyn?
No.
Oh, yeah, you'd remember this one. Okay. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, all right, sure. It was approximately 110 million degrees at this game. We have not had the fall cool weather come in to the Austin, Texas area. And but here's, okay. In general, when the cheer moms and I, like when I'm not tracking, I fully accept I am the problem. They are normal people who have fun in normal ways, and I am the problem. I need like, I don't know, like an emotional support bottle of Valium, like always. But there's one thing that I might say, I think this one is on them. So they had us do a cheer. Okay, I can't stand up. Yeah, I guess I can't stand up and actually do this cheer. Okay. I can sort of move my arms a little bit and stay in frame on YouTube. If you guys don't subscribe to my channel, I mean, I just don't know what I need to do. So Caitlyn, can you zoom it out at all? Can you run over there? Okay, we're going to zoom it out. They didn't give us a symmetrical cheer. They gave us it's not like I would. You'd think they'd be like, go team, like left side, right side, left side, right side. Okay, you can see my trash studio here. Okay, so here we go. Here was the cheer. I'll never forget this cheer. So you go, I don't remember the words, but it's like go. So you put your arm up and your knee. Team, arm and knee go down. Then it's like we will win, and it's a zigzag. You're zigzagging your hands left, right, and down, but it's not it's not like a zigzag like a Z. It was kind of at an angle, and I'm like, ooh, what is that? Then here's the part that Caitlyn's dying. here's the part that killed me. So we did you put your right arm up for 3 chants. And then down to the pom-poms, down with the pom-poms, and then up once with the left arm, and then down once with the pom-poms, and then up 3 times with the right arm. It's not symmetrical. Is it, Caitlyn, you're normal. Is it, okay, you need to get back. Well, actually, here, fix the Zoom here. Yeah. That was some cheering excellence. Get on my YouTube, guys. Okay, Caitlyn, is this me being like Rain Man, or would anyone struggle with an asymmetrical cheer where you're doing different things on different side of your body?
Oh, I would struggle.
Okay,
sure.
see, I was like, I know I'm insane. I know I struggle with things that other people find very easy, but this seems like a lot to ask. What's incredible is that a couple of dads were there, and they were just, like, I'm gonna do my best. One of these guys, he was so funny. He was like, yeah, I've been working on this like all week. This is really hard. And then so I thought we were doing it at halftime, but it was just like it was at some other time. So I'm standing there talking to my daughter. Suddenly I see everyone moving in unison, and I shake her. I'm like, they're doing the cheer. Like, I didn't spend hours in front of the mirror flopping around like Gumby on Quaaludes to miss this cheer. This is my moment. But I'm trying to catch up. And so now I'm just out of sync. And by the way, everybody comes to these games, so the stands are full. And the problem here is that I am a 6 foot tall albino redhead. So I can't just like slink into the back. Like, nobody notices that, Mom. Everybody notices that, Mom. And they're like, what's her problem? Because then I got all out of sync with the asymmetrical stuff. Guys, I was flailing on that field. I think that people thought I was on ayahuasca. The way I was flailing around, it wasn't a cheer. It didn't look like I was cheering for the football team. It looked like I was trying to summon the sun god or something. The way I was moving was very strange, not like tight cheerleader moving. It was just like waving my long circus freak arms everywhere and seeming stressed and like yelling in my daughter's general direction. I wasn't yelling at her. I was like, where are we at the cheer? It's asymmetrical. I was screaming the words asymmetrical instead of the cheer. And maybe that is where the neurodivergence comes in. That I see that. Okay. But then my husband, who is, also has a brain actually pretty similar to mine, which is like quite a combo. He missed filming it. And It was like, the whole reason I'm doing any of this is for Instagram, obviously. And he missed it. And then there was even a potential shot of me and my daughter walking away. And I was thinking like, okay, yeah, have you guys ever had one of those moments where you're like, okay, I look pretty good today? I mean, I do not normally think that, but there was something about just the outfit, the hair was working. I was like, all right,
this is it.
We'll put this one on the gram. Let my enemies see how I'm doing. Pretty good, I would say. He's a supportive husband. So if I ask him to take video, he'll try. I mean, a lot of times, like, does the button actually get pressed? Like, not necessarily, but he will try. But he won't move from whatever position he is in. So he was sitting in, I only have a child's lawn chair in my car because I can't remember to replace it with a full-size one. So he and I were fighting over the child's lawn chair that like our knees are like up to our chin when we sit in it, but the bleachers were full. There are ants on the ground. So this is all we had. So he wouldn't get out of the baby chair to get a good shot of me and my daughter walking. So it's just like blurry shots of all these parents' butts like walking in front of his and then you see like 2 seconds of me looking great. And I'm so vain and I'm so dedicated to showing my haters that like I'm living a good life even when it's not really true. I kid you not. I seriously thought about taking that 2 seconds where you can see me in between two parents like juggling posteriors because they were walking and everything was, it was a crazy shot. But for 2 seconds, you could see me and my daughter in between these two people. I seriously thought, I was like, would it be too obvious if like on Instagram, like I drug out that 2 seconds of like, these are special moments. Guys, this is what it's about. Honestly, it's just about time with our kids. And, yes, this is 20 seconds of me almost standing still. We have this so much in slow-mo, but I just wanted to relive this memory, of my hair looking like that. It's kind of just wanted to do that. I'm not kidding. I really thought about it. But no, so my husband missed filming it. And if he had stood up from the baby chair, which admittedly is hard. I mean, yeah, you do kind of need like a forklift, the jaws of life. It is not easy for adults to get out of that thing. But I might have thought you could like stand up and move and like get one shot. But that was not in the cards for me that day. No video was in the cards for me. But I'll have to see. Maybe on another episode. I think we got one shaky video also from him like seated and not getting a good angle. But I'll see if I can find that to play. But asymmetrical cheers in the heat at random times that are not halftime. I've learned that is a space that is not my forte as a cheer mom. But what is my forte is mums. I feel like I'm rolling over everyone else. It's not a competition, but I did win. Akin to, it's reminiscent of Lino Rulli's football league. I didn't think this was going to be my specialty, and yet I win anyway. So that is how things are going as a cheer mom. It's weird that being a cheer mom is actually going better for me than a lot of other areas of my life. So maybe I need to submit to God's direction here. He's like, stop it, cut it out. Nobody wants any of this other stuff you're doing. Just make mums. You found your calling. Just make mums. All right. Don't forget, I am going to spill about what's going on. This news crazy thing that happened in our family, a disaster that followed it. And there's I meant to say this too. There's a reason I can't right now anyway say what we did wrong, because there is a very vicious group of people, kind of mafia-like in their vibe. Am I lying?
Nope.
If they found out what we did, I would not feel safe. Like, I mean, these people, they can't know what happened. Mm-hmm. So that is that's another reason it's for the Dumpster Fire Patreon, and that will be this week. And again, just check Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen, and I will put up the time. It will be Friday, October 11th is when we will do it. Okay. So the reason you're always looking at your phone, couple reasons for that. Oh, and again, for you, maybe it's not looking at your phone all the time. Maybe it's buying stuff or whatever. You're escaping into something. I want to point out two things. One is that's your water well. That's your version of when the women would go meet and gather together, and your human brain is expecting human delivered serotonin boosts in the middle of the drudgery. That was a good summary. I have to hit the "how is this podcast free" button. Your primal cavewoman brain is expecting certain interactions with other people as you are doing the difficult work. Like, I mean, think of your think of your ancestors from like 10,000, whatever, 20,000 years ago. I mean, like their work was definitely drudgery. You know, the men would go out and kill a woolly mammoth. It was up to you to disembowel it. I mean, it's like that, you know, like, oh, what am I going to do with all these intestines? I mean, that it wasn't pleasant work, but you would do it with other women. And let me tell you, I would actually disembowel a deceased water buffalo if someone had some good gossip. Like I love to hear a good story. And if someone was like, you know, that person who was so rude to you in a green room one time, like you were trying to be nice and she looked you up and down and walked right past you and walked right out the door, you will not believe what's going on with her. Like complete dumpster fire. But the only way you'll find out is we are doing there's a wildebeest, and it's like a disemboweling, you know, like making skin, you know, for people to use for their coats and stuff. And so you have to be part of that. I'd be like, when and where? Mum making party, a little stressful. But listen, if I am getting some good intel, that I will 100% be there. So, yeah, I mean, your brain is expecting human connection. And when it doesn't get it, it's like, hey, I know where that is. I know where it is. It's on that phone thing of yours. Get out that glowing screen and let's see some human connection. And I would say even the jealousy, the envy that we feel, the negativity, that I think that is oddly comforting. And that's why you keep going back to it, even if you follow the preening influencers who only get on social media to virtue signal into the void. I would say even that is comfortable to your brain, because that's also part of a village. I've said many times, as I talk about how our brains are most comfortable living in communities, tribes, villages, things like that. It would annoy me to death. Oddly enough, like I would probably struggle with village life more than most people, because I just have a difficult time dealing with people, and because I'm insane. But that happens. I mean, even for those of you who are great with people and extroverted, you know, when you were out working with the other women, washing clothes at the river, gathering water, again, like dealing with the animal carcasses to make food and clothing from them, you know, after the men killed it. Yeah, some people would get on your nerves, and there would be that like, wow, like why does everything always work out for her family? Like that's a nice tunic she has. Where did she get that? Like, did she make that? That tunic is way nicer than mine. You know, I mean, that is part of village life, is people get on your nerves, and you are envious of some people, and some people make you feel bad about yourself. I actually think that our brains do feel a sense of normalcy with that when we encounter that. And so again, I really don't think, guys, that it is some deep pathological lack of virtue in yourselves that is driving you to this. I just don't think it is. I believe that you guys maybe have some deep pathological lack of virtue. I mean, I'm not saying like you're perfect and nothing. I mean, Lord knows I'm not perfect, but I just don't think that your desire to check your phone, or, you know, whatever little boost you get throughout the day, I just don't think that's one of them, because I think that your brain is like, yeah, this is normal. Okay, this feels right. You're angry about what that one talking head said. You're inspired by what the other woman said, this face that we just saw on the glowing screen. You're, you know, you're annoyed by this other woman. You like this, you know, then you wonder, is this guy still married? You know, just all of that. And I'm not saying that we should spend endless time on it either. I think it's fine to try to set limits. My point is just, I don't think you guys should be beating yourselves up for the fact that you are drawn to it. I think your primal brain is really seeking it. I think it's actually very analogous to how our primal brains still think that we are cave people living, tens of thousands of years ago when there was no processed food. And if you had access to fat and sugar, you needed to load up because you never knew when the next famine was coming. And so, of course, our brains now are like, a double fried ham sandwich dipped in ranch. Have two. Girl, you never know. There could be a famine coming. Like, come on, let's bulk up. So similarly to how, the junk food industries do really well because our primal brains, still think that having the simplest sugar possible and a bunch of fat, like just maxing out on those two things is the best thing to do. We end up eating junk food. I think it's a similar thing with phones. It's, try to limit it, but it's really not a moral failing that you're being driven to this. It is your brain thinking it's helping you. It's like, hey, you've been abandoned by your tribe. You'd better find some faces. When you go all day just seeing your children's faces, I'm telling you, your primal brain thinks that you guys are all about to die because you've been abandoned by your tribe. And it's like, man, where are those faces? Go find some people to annoy you, because that is a sign that you're in a tribe. Yeah, you better get some annoying people up in there, because right now all we're seeing is like only children's faces during the day, and that's not a good thing. Here's the second thing. I think you guys are not giving yourselves enough buffer. This also goes back to, evolutionary psychology, the way God has designed us. I should bring this up on another podcast episode too, because it's really powerful. I don't think you can do this experiment. It's too hard. But you should do an experiment where you try living without artificial light and see how much you can get done in a day. You can still use electricity. You don't have to go full Amish. Like, air conditioner is fine. Even washer, dryer, whatever. Like, that's all fine. But no light. No artificial light. See how much you can get done in a day. If you live on Svalbard, I'm still obsessed. I can't believe I forgot to bring that up. All I do is think about, just ponder life on Svalbard, why people live there. Do I maybe want to live there? Like, okay. If you live on Svalbard, like right now, during fall, winter, you're not getting a lot done because there's like 2 minutes of sunlight. But really, regardless of where you live, unless it's like Antarctica or the North Pole, what you will find if you try to do just one day without, I'm actually almost done. We have a cat meowing, but that's now, meowing cats are actually part of this podcast.
Apparently.
As I was saying, meow. If you missed the previous episode, very chaotic. Like, this episode is a bastion of linear thought compared to the last one. Svalbard. Okay. If you were to try, you should try at some point. Just do candlelight for 24 hours. And you can still use all of your electricity, but just no artificial light. Here's what you will find. You can hardly do anything during the day, and then at night it's just too dark, and also don't do glowing screens after sunset, because one of the things you're trying to do is to approximate how difficult it is to focus on anything when it is night, and when it's night and you can only read by candlelight. My grandfather talked about this a lot. He's, again, so amazing that I knew someone born in 1914. He lived to age 100. We had so many great conversations, and he had a great memory. He was very mentally sharp until the last day. And he said, he was saying that he was like, he remembered life before electricity, which is so interesting to be able to talk to someone with that experience. And he said, man, studying by candlelight was the worst. He would finish his farm chores and then, and he'd just have to set up a candle or a lamp and study. And he was like, it was unbelievably exhausting. And he often commented on that just being able to read a book or just anything, read the newspaper or whatever with regular light, like just flip on a light switch light. He was like, it's night and day in terms of, no pun intended, in terms of how exhausting it is. And so a lot of you guys are using modern standards for how much you should be doing in a day. God did not design you that way. God really designed us to do as much in a day as you can do during daylight hours. Again, if you've ever tried to live like this with no artificial light, you will find it's just too exhausting to do anything super productive after the sun sets. And so you just kind of stop. You don't have to make proclamations and post Instagram inspo about taking time for rest. You just do it because you're freaking tired, because it's just exhausting. And by the way, Caitlyn, wouldn't this be cool? I've often thought it would be fun to, okay, I bet you actually won't think this is cool. Actually, I've thought it would be cool to have an Airbnb that has electricity, again, air conditioner, washer, dryer, stuff like that, but no light, no artificial light, so that you have to get in a natural rhythm of sunlight and sunset. Especially with these hippies in Austin, I think I could make a lot of money on this actually, because you do, it is truly a transformative experience. And the main thing is you realize how much you are pushing yourself. The cat meowing is now a key part of this podcast. You realize how much you are pushing yourself. What, Caitlyn, why don't you hand her to me so that everyone can see this cat who makes so much noise? You realize how much you are pushing yourself beyond what God meant for you to do when you live on a schedule where you only work when it is daylight outside. It's honestly shocking. And so again, I think that's one of the reasons you're escaping into your phone, into carbs, into sweets, into whatever. You're doing way more. Oh, that's a different cat than I expected. Yeah. You're doing way more. Here, hand him to me. Than God meant for you to do. And so of course you're, ow! Claws. I apologize for everything this podcast is. Okay, there was 2 seconds of our cat. Of course you're escaping into your phone. Of course you're escaping into that bag of sea salt and vinegar chips and some chocolate, which, by the way, sounds amazing. Yeah, it does. You are pushing yourself so far beyond your limits, and then you're beating yourself up about the fact that you're not getting enough done, because again, you think it's a moral failing. You think, man, if I were only more on top of things, I would have done all this stuff. I would have had the house cleaned. I would have, no, you were not meant to do that much in a day. And I think the reason you're desperate for those cheap serotonin and dopamine boost hits is because you're just pushed past your natural limits and your brain is spent. All right. Another triumph of an episode. Yeah. This is one of the more unprepped episodes we've ever done. I came very close to not being able to do an episode today. So thank Caitlyn, actually. Caitlyn made it happen. And we will be with you on Patreon soon and then next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.